Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing today? Hoping you're having a good day. Hopefully you've eaten as well, because you can't really do maths on an empty stomach. So today we're going to look at simplifying algebraic fractions, in particular multiplying and dividing fractions. So throw back to year 7 when we did fractions with numbers. We know that 2 over 4 can be simplified as 1/2 because we divided top and bottom by the number 2 because they're both even. So that's simplifying a fraction. And a throwback to multiplying fractions in year 7, say you wanted to multiply 1/3 by 4/5, you literally just multiply across, so you get 4 over 15, and then you check whether you can simplify the fraction anymore. No, there's no common factors between 4 and 15, and you leave it as that. Also throw back to year 7 maths when we did dividing fractions. Say you wanted 1/3 divided by 4/5. What you would do is you turn the divide into multiply, and then you flip the second fraction, and then you literally multiply across, so you get 5 over 12, and you check, can you simplify fractions? So we're using these similar ideas but in algebra. So the key point is make sure you always factorize your algebra fractions first, then you can cancel any common factors in the top and bottom. So a bad example is, so suppose you wanted to simplify the algebraic fraction 4x plus 8 all over 4x. So it's an algebraic fraction because it's not just numbers, it involves variables as well, so your x's, etc. If I was a naughty child, I would go, oh look, there's a 4 top and bottom, let's cancel those off. And then, oh look, there's an x top and bottom, let's cancel those off. And so I'm just left with the answer 8. No, never do that. That's a bad child. Don't do that, right? So what you should be doing instead, the good example, let's do this properly. So 4x plus 8 all over 4x. So first, can you factorize your fraction? So let's factorize this on the top. So 4 outside of x plus 2 all over 4x. Now, because these are products, so you're multiplying, like 4 times x plus 2 and 4 lots of x, because you're multiplying, now you can cancel off the 4's, and then you are left with just x plus 2 on top and x on the bottom. Now that is what a good person would do. Now you would not go any further with the x plus 2 over x because this is not a product. This is an addition, not a multiplying. So it's not a factor. It's not a product of factors. So we can't cancel the x on the top and bottom. So key point is make sure you factorize, then you can cancel the top and bottom which are multiplying together. So let's have a look at example 13. So we've got three subparts of example 13. We need to simplify part A, x squared plus 6x plus 9 all over 2x plus 6. So step 1, let's factorize. So on the top we have a quadratic, so we need to do our little ABC and do a little plus b times AC table on the side. So A in the top is 1, B is 6, and C is 9. So if I do my plus B times AC table, B is 6, A times C, 1 times 9 is 9. So I'm thinking of two numbers that multiply to become 9 and add to become 6. So positive 3 and positive 3. So back over on the left, when we're factorizing the top, we have x plus 3 times x plus 3. On the bottom, 2x plus 6 have a common factor of 2, so I pull a 2 out, I'm left with x plus 3. Now, because we are producting, we're multiplying these factors, then we can cancel anything that's in common top and bottom, which is an x plus 3 and an x plus 3. So all that's left, simplifying the fraction, I have x plus 3 all over 2. And that's all I can do to simplify part A. Let's do part B. So B says we need to simplify x squared plus 12x plus 35 all over x squared minus 25 times x squared minus 10x plus 25 all over x squared plus 9x plus 14. So again, first factorize your top and bottom, and then we'll see if we can cancel anything in common. So all four parts of top and bottoms involve quadratics, so we need to do a little side calculation of your plus b times ac. But in particular, this one here, the denominator of the first fraction, it's in the form of a squared minus b squared. So if you remember, a squared minus b squared factorizes to a plus b times a minus b. So we can easily factorize the one on the bottom to be x minus 5, x plus 5, because 5 squared is 25. Now for the other three, we need to do a bit more of the plus b times ac side calc. So on the side, I'm going to write that in. So side calc, let's do the numerator of the first fraction. So if we consider x squared plus 12x plus 35, our a is 1, our b is 12, and our c is 35, plus b times ac, so I'm adding to be 12 and I'm multiplying to be 35. A plus 5 and a plus 7 multiplies to be 35 and adds to be 12. So back over here, x plus 5, x plus 7, we have factorized the numerator of the first quadratic, of the first fraction. Let's factorize the numerator of the second fraction, so x squared minus 10x plus 25. So a is 1, b is negative 10, c is 25, plus b times ac, minus 10, 25. So two numbers that multiply to be 25 but add to be negative 10, so negative 5, negative 5. So back up here, it's x minus 5 times x minus 5. And then lastly, the denominator, we have x squared plus 9x plus 14. So a is 1, b is 9, c is 14, plus b times ac table. B is 9, a times c is 14. Two numbers that multiply to be 14 but add to be 9 is 7 and 2. So positive 7, positive 2. So back over at the fraction, we have x plus 7 times x plus 2. And now since we're multiplying the fractions, we're literally multiplying across. So we have on the numerator x plus 5, x plus 7 times x minus 5 times x minus 5. On the denominator you have x minus 5, x plus 5, x plus 7, x plus 2. So now we've got everything as products, so they're multiplying the products of factors. We can cancel out anything that's common, top and bottom. So on the top I have an x plus 5, on the bottom I have an x plus 5, that can go. On the top I have an x plus 7, on the bottom I have an x plus 7, they cancel. On the top I have an x minus 5, on the bottom I have an x minus 5. And that's all that's in common. So all that I have left is x minus 5 all over x plus 2. Now remember, you cannot cancel the x's because they are not multiplying in the top or bottom. So you can only cancel products of factors, We're not multiplying here, we're adding and subtracting, so we cannot cancel the x's. Let's do C as well. So part C, I'll just move this down here so I can have more space. Let's move that down there and move that there. Alright, part C. We have 2 bracket x minus 3 squared minus 50 all over x squared minus 11x plus 24 divided by x squared minus 4 over 3 minus x. So C is what I would say is a complex question, definitely. There's multiple steps involved. So let's do it one step at a time. So first, let's factorize, okay? So on the top, I have 2 and 50, so they're both even, so let's take out a common factor of 2. So we're left with inside x minus 3 all squared minus 25, and this is what we want, and this helps because 25 is a perfect square, so it's again in the form of a squared minus b squared, which we can factorize to be a plus b, a minus b. On the bottom we'll have to do a little side calc to do the plus b times ac table. On the top of the second fraction, that's a plus b, a minus b example, so it's x minus 2, x plus 2, because 2 squared is 4, 3 minus x, I can't simplify that, I can't factorize that, sorry. So on the side, let's do a x squared minus 11x plus 24 side calc, so a is 1, b is negative 11, c is 24. If I do a plus b times ac table, 2 numbers that add to be 11 and multiply to be 24. 4 and 6 multiply 24, but 4 and 6 do not add up to be 11. 3 times 8 is 24. I need a positive 24, but they add to be negative. So a negative 3, negative 8, they multiply to be 24, positive 24, and they add to be negative 11. So back over in the fraction, we have x minus 3 bracket x minus 8. Okay, let's factorize the top bit there. So it's a squared minus b squared, so it's a plus b times a minus b. So hang on, let me write that better again. So a is x minus 3 plus b times a, which is x minus 3 minus b. So x minus 3 times x minus 8. If we're dividing fractions, we turn the divide into a multiply and flip the second fraction. So that's x minus 2, x plus 2. Right, so now let's simplify this top numerator of the first fraction. So it's 2 lots of x. Now minus 3 plus 5 is a minus 2. Minus 3 minus 5 is a minus 8. Oops, minus 8. I'm multiplying, so I can multiply across. Make sure you put brackets around the 3 minus x because you're multiplying by the whole thing. All over x minus 3, x minus 8, x minus 2, x plus 2. Alright, now look for things common top and bottom that we can cancel. We have an x minus 2 in common. We have an x minus 8 in common. Now, it is very tempting to immediately cancel the x minus 3 and the 3 minus x because they both have an x and they both have a 3 in it. But it's not in the exact same order, so we need to do a bit of tweaking before we can cancel that part. So 3 minus x is the same as pulling out a -1 outside of x minus 3. So it's 2 lots of -1 lots of x minus 3. And that's all over x minus 3, x plus 2. Now, because it's a product, we can cancel that off. And so we're left with a -2 on top and a x minus 2 on the bottom.